All right, let me know when you're ready to go.
Shall I count us in? Okay. Ready?
Hi.
How you doing, my Hlabi?
Why are you shaking your head? It's true.
Hello.
Before we dive in, now I'm ready. Hi, welcome back to Quality Control Podcast. It's me, Hlabi, and my co-host is.
Feeya, highly amused, very weird individual. Hlabi's so defeated. Like he was so hyped. Said none of it recorded, and now he just looks so sad. I'm so sorry.
I'm fucked off, man. I'm actually angry. I was so happy. I was so hyped. Now I feel like a fool. I feel like a fool. Why are we here,
Oh,
Fear? We're cutting out the fat,
oh.
and we're going to be trying to cut out a lot of fat with these episodes because life is long and editing is long. So, why are we here, Fear?
Hello, Hlabi. It really has been a long time since we last recorded, in fact. Not only has it been a while since we put out an episode, so
Mm,
you're going to hear some episodes that we recorded all the way last year. And then you're going to just roll over into the next episode, and this will be where you are. But for you, it'll just be the next, I don't know, hour. For us, it's been 3 months.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And what we started with was Arcane Season 2, Act 1. And you're obviously here because you've just listened to that. And so now we're going to continue with Arcane Season 2, Act 2, episodes 4 to 6.
yeah,
But
indeed.
before that, we've got to do our housekeeping because, we're not dirty here.
Mm. Wait, we're not what?
Dirty. We're not
Oh,
dirty. We wash our hands. We don't wear
oh.
shoes in the house.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
housekeeping. Yes. I
yes.
don't know where I was going with that.
I don't
Okay.
know either. Also, as well. Also,
Right.
randomly
I'm so
within,
sorry.
yeah,
We
randomly
are we're
within. Oh,
clearly out of practice. Oh,
yeah, yeah, just not in sync at the moment. Feel good. Um. Oh, what does I say? I was gonna say randomly we're on video also. Just yeah, and maybe this will have already happened in the episode before this, that you're like, oh, it's a video podcast, or this could be the first one. I don't know. I don't know how life works. We're all just trying to figure it out. Philosophy, housekeeping fear, philosophy. I mean,
right.
housekeeping
Sorry.
fear,
Before I
housekeeping.
am
Yeah, I almost
right.
called you
Housekeeping.
philosophy.
First
Yeah,
and foremost, Sammy, can I talk?
what a mess. Please go.
Yeah. Okay, so housekeeping. First and foremost, we are Quality Control, the podcast, which means that we are two adults recording, which means that our content is going to be adult. There will be lots of curse words because Slubby and I learned from the best, aka our parents. Shout out, parents.
No, whoa,
Um,
pause. No. No. Yay, don't get me in trouble. What is wrong with you? No. You learned from your parents. I did not learn from my mom. I saw her I heard her swear I think 6 times. I'm 33 years old. Okay. It's just yeah.
I just came out here to stir pots.
Guns blazing.
Flavie left me
Jesus.
alone for 3 months and I've just been stirring pots. This is who I've been at work as well. Let me try that again, okay? Right, spoiler alert. We're going to be spoiling Arcane Season 2, Episode 4 to 6, left, right, and center. We're also going to be using explicit language. Where we didn't pick those up from, we won't cast aspersions. So if you are younger than 16 years old, this is not for you. Let's just say if you're younger than 18, this isn't for you. Then again, if you're listening with an adult, hello, welcome. Secondly, we are really trying to kick this podcast off the ground. We're trying to grow and make this something substantial. The best way that we know how to do that is to connect with everyone on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And on all of those channels, we have the same username at Quality Control Pod. That's at quality spelt normally, control is spelt CNTRL pod. Quality Control Pod. And if you have anything that you'd like us to cover, if you have any of our special interests that align with ours, if you have a meme for us, please drop us an email at qualitycontrol.podcast11@gmail.com.
Wonderful. Thank you. We wanted to talk us back in a little, but I think we did that in reverse order. Yeah, we done did that. Look at us, friggin' yeah, it's coming back. Okay, I'm giggly today. Fia, could you please take us through the overview of Act Two, episodes 4 to 6 of Arcane season the second?
All right, let's go. Hopefully, you're not tired of my voice yet. Right. Overview episodes 4 to 6. A war rages between the upper and lower Piltovians, and forces are combing through Zorn looking for dissidents under Caitlyn's command. With a meeting of the underworld factions imminent, Savika urges a retired Jinx to step into Silco's shoes, as she has become a symbol of the underground rebellion. A raid on the meeting leads to Jinx's new little sister figure being captured by enforcers, which twists Jinx's arm into stepping up and being the hero her people need. We finally see the entry of the giant wolf beast, Warwick, who sets about mauling everyone in his path as he attempts to get to Singed. I don't actually know how to say that guy's name. Singed? Whatever, scientist dude. Uh,
Yes.
Mauling everyone, that is, except for Jinx. Let's find out why later. Meanwhile, Vi is in full emo meltdown over her life. She has descended into alcoholism and underground fights, all because of a romantic mismatch. Or not. We'll see. Until a newly turned around Jinx pops in on her and tells her about Warwick, who is actually a mutated Vander. The pair go after him and they end up in an old hideout of Vander and Silco. The girls find a letter from the former apologizing to the latter for their now infamous fight. Jace returns to the Hexgate power station and sets off on a mission to destroy Hextech. First step, kill Victor. Also in need of Victor, Vi and Jinx bring Warwick to him in the hopes of healing him, while Singed and Mbessa track him. Mbessa plans to attack Victor's peaceful settlement while Vi and Caitlyn unite. They hatch a plan to get Vander out just as Jace arrives and decimates Victor's earthly body. The commune erupts in chaos. Victor's disciples are incapacitated. Mbessa's troops move in and try to capture Warwick, and apologies, Isha makes a sacrifice, taking both herself and Vanderwick out. Jinx is left devastated.
Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Thank you for that overview, the viewed over. Um, so first thoughts, Fee, on the act. Did you like it?
It was really, really difficult to write that overview. I know that's not directly answering your question, but so much happened in Act 2
Mm-hmm.
that I felt it could be split into Act 2 and 3 by itself. I didn't dislike it because we went into season 2 knowing that this was going to be the last season for this chapter of Arcane. So we knew that things were going to wrap up. But the way they wrapped it up, honestly, it could have been 3 seasons, sorry. Or it could have just been season 2 that had 4 acts because they had so much. So I didn't dislike Act 2. But I didn't love the way they presented it to us, and I don't think I was the only one. A lot of the internet also said that it was too rushed and there were too many things that they meshed together.
So did you like it?
I don't know, actually. There were things that I
Okay.
liked. I
Mm,
think there was just so much that I once again had that same feeling that I had when we talked about Across the Spider-Verse, where too much happens, things change so much so quickly that it becomes difficult to know what to focus on.
mm. Do
So I
you?
think in my first watching, I focused more on the Vanda, Isha, Jinx, Vi family dynamic.
Yeah.
But rewatching it, I think that was just one thing that I could latch onto because of the way that they presented that particular thing to us. Everything else that they gave us felt really squashed.
Okay. Do you? So I have a question. Do you think, and like nothing scientific here or anything, but do you think a person who quote unquote doesn't live on the internet like you has that problem versus maybe someone who's more used to sporadic things and like they'll be doom maybe not even doom scrolling but like is very much aware of internet culture and lingo and is like aware of trends and has ability to stay on trends and that does that make sense what I'm saying of like a person who is used to things that are mishmash a lot of the time. So let's say if you were, I don't know, 22 and was on the net all the time, social media all the time, right? Like TikToking, Instagram, sending memes, bam, 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 a lot of the time, and just having an input of information constantly. Do you think maybe you might have managed it better?
No,
Okay, okay.
simple answer. No.
Hmm. I was just
Um,
wondering.
I don't know that I've got lots of thoughts on the things that I felt were problematic in the way that they presented things to us.
Like
Um,
what?
God, we're really making me talk today. Hlabi's not said a damn thing this whole 30 minutes that we've been here.
Like what?
Um,
Also, it's 15. You liar. You liar.
no, I'm an
Gosh.
exaggerator. Please be accurate.
No, that was a lie. That was a straight up lie. Sus.
So I found it really frustrating that they, first of all, gave us a full theme song. Those episodes with as much information as they had on them, they put the full theme song. We didn't need this. We're in season two. You could have cut that 2 minutes out and you could have put story beats in there.
Okay.
I kept waiting for them to do like a reduced version of the like theme and just have them put credits into it. Which
Hmm.
I understand, yes, maybe you don't want to do that because of how vibrant and how many shifts your scenes make. Fair enough. Beyond that, I feel like we went from a montage into the theme song and then into another montage.
Mm-hmm.
Not for all of them. I think just episode 5 did that, where we went Undercity theme song and then montage into something else entirely. But for the first one, we came out of the theme song and then we went into a musical montage of the grief and the funeral, and like you just came out of one musical thing and you went into another. There wasn't a lot of grounding. Like it was just kind of smashed together.
Okay. Yeah, now that you mention it, there are a lot of montages in this season.
Which could be fine. but you didn't ground us in anything. So a lot of the setting up that they did in the first act, I think we both talked about this, about seeing Caitlyn go dark side. They set
Mm,
that up so intricately, and that would have been a very interesting path to watch us go, to watch her walk all the way up to the precipice of being a dictator and then go, whoa, I'm going to walk myself back. If that's the arc they wanted for her, that would have been very interesting to follow. But we didn't get to see any of those moments. We went, she's a dictator. She and Vi have broken up. They want to get back together, so she's not going to go down that path,
mm.
which felt very, very shallow. Like there were hints and there were things to make it not as one dimensional as that. But I think that because of the way they presented this story to us, there was no grounding in intention for the characters.
Okay. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think it disturbed or annoyed me or frustrated me as much as you. I also think, and maybe for to the sense of the practicality, I think as I was watching the first time and now rewatching, just keeping in mind that it took what 3 years, 4 years
Mm, mm,
for the season to come out, and I can just see a world where they're like, it's not financially viable actually for us to stretch the story, maybe make 4 acts or a third season. And then also, I know people were frustrated about how long it took for the second season to come out. Like, damn, it took so long. And I can see a word in their minds that they're like, yeah, it's gonna be another like 3 or 4 years for the next one. And they might have also been like, we have other things to do in life. Actually, I don't want to spend 10 years making Arcane just as a studio, as animators, some, and without that guarantee maybe of like the vested interest continuing. And I think then on a company basis, because it's been news that yes, there's something else coming out from the world of League of Legends, and it's like we need to get to that. So I think like real world, well, in my mind, in my view, like real world implications, I think are the reason for how, yeah, how rushed it is and feels, and not to say that, yeah, that's a viable excuse, because I think it's valid to be like, man, I wish it was stretched out. But maybe because that's how I was viewing it, didn't trouble me as much, and I kept pace with that. I was just like, cool, acknowledging that, yeah, this is quick, but yeah, I still loved it. Yeah, yeah.
mm.
So to
Tell
answer
me
the
more about
question,
why you
yes.
loved it, though, because I feel like I gave you a lot of reasons why it's not that great. But it's
Mm,
not all bad. I did love some of it, and I want to hear
yes.
your reasons.
I think the vibrancy of the world, um, the aesthetic, and I really enjoy. I think it was smart how they used subtext within this rushed nature. So in you talking, I realized, yeah, there are a lot of montages. But when I was watching, I was like, oh, it's a lot of montages. I was just like, oh, that's smart. Getting that information to me in a minute that would take maybe 6 or 7 of story beats, doing it within a minute, and I still understand where the world is going and how. And it might also be it, during first watch, doing that thing of like, yeah, but I think the end will justify, you know, that thing of when a show may be like it starts well and then the middle is kind of and then the end you're like, oh, okay, they pulled it together at the end. I think maybe I was hoping for that and believed in that, and I believe they did do that. I think the last episode of the season is just like shit. Okay, I can see why you had to rush to this, I suppose. And I really, again, we're jumping ahead, spoilers and stuff. The Echo storyline, the Echo and Heimerdinger, I think is such a nice slowdown, because in that episode, you get a lack of rush. And sure, maybe someone could be like, yeah, but I would have liked that to be 2 episodes. And I'd be like, would you though? 2 episodes in that other one? I think it was enough of a slowdown for me. During the first watch, I'm like, okay, it really lessened the pace. We got an elongated narrative here. We really saw Echo's arc within that. And even then, doing things very smart of how they can condense some things of like his confusion, then accepting that came in another world, but then that determination to get back to his own, which it was an episode, but I reckon that was months within that timeline that it took them to do that. So I enjoy how and I enjoy how throughout the season and in this arc they condense time because days and weeks pass in an episode. Particularly, I think the last one when Victor is trying to cure Vanda, and that's the one time they physically show the passing of time that he's here for a while, and so I like that, and I like that about the show about how they navigated that. And then I think yeah, just the aesthetic is so it's like one of those things of like okay, I forgive you, you know, like if I was like annoyed and upset and mad, I'd be like, but look at it though, okay. Okay, I forgive you. And that thing that they established in the first season of changing art styles, the seamless way in which they do that is just so impressive because it doesn't take me out of the story. Yeah, that's my answer. Before we move on though to themes, you said there are some moments you liked. Can
Oh,
you
there's
can you
so
give
much
us
to like.
give
Not
us like
even
maybe
just
two?
moments, but Hlabi, why
Yeah,
are you making it
man.
hard? I want to tell you all the good things. I don't just want to talk about the bad things. I know I'm a hater. I know I'm a born hater, but
No,
sometimes,
no, we're cutting out the
sometimes
fat.
I like to like.
Yeah, yes. No, okay, go ahead. Go. Okay, three things. Give us three things you like. I only have like
Uh,
one to really talk about
I
in
mean,
terms of moments.
let's not detract from any of the performances that any of the actors did.
Oh
All
yeah.
of them were amazing.
Hmm.
Um, Purnell, what's her name? Emma, the woman who plays Jinx.
Yes.
Every single time Jinx had a line, it was so beautifully delivered and
Hmm.
so perfectly encompassing of like this really, really young person who is forgive the like simplicity, this oversimplification, but like this really young person who's seen a lot, who's done a lot, who's responsible for it, but who's also fucking cracked in the head. You
Okay.
know, like all of that
What a
was
way to
just
put it.
there in her voice.
What a way to put it.
That's the
She's
only that's
cracked.
like for me that's the best way that you can describe Jinx. Like she's unwell, sure, but
Hmm.
also because she's a character, because she's a caricature,
Hmm.
that's the nature of what we're seeing here. I think Ella Purnell did such a great job with that. Literally every single line conveyed all of that. You know, there was a little crack in her voice somewhere, or like there was a squeak because she's a teenager. Just such great work.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can sit
Yeah.
and gush here about it, not say anything new, but like,
What a year for her as well. 2024. Fallout and Arcane. She just became video game media queen. You know.
yeah,
I wouldn't be
and
surprised if she's
deserved as well.
in. I wouldn't be surprised if she's in randomly in The Last of Us season two, part two. Just like she's here as well. Like I wouldn't be surprised. Like cool, I'm just gonna kill it there as well.
Be great.
Yeah, she's really good. She's really good. Okay, another thing, another. So wait, that was the
Another
voice
thing
actors.
is,
Give us your moments.
everything to do with Isha. Every single thing to do with Isha. I think
Yeah.
that was some of the strongest writing in the whole season. I think, yes, going
Mm,
back to Act One, the way that they come together, and then seeing how that develops in Act Two, and then kind of going, Jinx actually retired so that she could kind of take care of this little human, knowing,
mm,
of course, that she's just a teenager herself, walking in Silco's footsteps, but kind of dodging the same footsteps, but like
mm.
landing in them anyway. attempting to kill the Jinx identity, attempting to like reconcile with Powder and be kinder to her inner Powder in the form of Isha. And there's a line even that says, like, you remind me of who I used to be. You remind me of Powder. Again, talking about herself in the third person. All of those. And every single time that there was a Vi Jinx Vanda hug, there was also an Isha hug. And she just kind of was like, yeah, I'm part of this. And nobody like acknowledged or like said no or said yes, or it was just so beautifully not even present, like beautifully just given to us. Out of all
Yeah.
the ways that they broke our hearts, every single time Isha was like, "Lee," it was just like, here, have this little nugget of soft down feather, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get nuggets of down feather. I'm sorry for taking
We can now.
yeah.
It's
Um
called it's called a
yeah.
metaphor. It's called a meta of the four. Okay.
I don't even know if it's a metaphor. I think it's just a mess.
Okay. Um that sentence right there just really quickly reminds me of a former schoolmate at Wits. I'm not sure if you remember um what Melody? Tiny lady.
Oh.
Shout out to you, Melody. And a thing I would always laugh about is Melody's sentences. Every single one of them would end on a downer. I was just like, she'd be like, I had such a great day today. It was so cool. My shoes were pinching me though. Like, those are her sentences all the time. She can talk about what a great time she's having. Oh wow, this apple is so good. Oh, it's gonna be done in like a minute though. And you're like, Melody. It's, every time she's always like a dose of reality to herself. Every time. And I'd laugh about it all the time. On what she said, oh, before I get to I had a single moment that I wanted to talk about that I really liked, but I was the end of the arc, the last episode, the two shocking things that happened like back to back. I knew Jace was like on edge and unhinged and something's going on. Him straight up killing Victor, not a conversation, not a nothing. Just like, what? I was like, damn, bro. And then it turning out to be mass murder also because all of his followers, all of his acolytes who were connected with him died. But then Isha, I was like, whoa. I was still in the thing of like, whoa. And then Isha's moment of sacrificing herself to save Jinx was and I didn't the first time I watched, I didn't realize it was happening until she did the jump, and I was like, oh no. It's like the anime moment when the side character that you like suddenly have their backstory, and you're like, oh, this motherfucker's about to die. Why am I seeing so much about this person now? The moment she jumped off of that shield and she leaped off, I was like, oh, no, surely not. And I just sat there and be like, surely not. And then, oh, surely yes. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. Devastate me. Yeah, so just wanted to mention that because I thought of it. So the one moment I wanted to get to though is the breakout when Jinx is going there and like it's really fun and funny and action packed when she's fighting Warwick slash Vanda. But when she initially frees the people, I don't think I clocked it consciously the first time. So on the second watch for the pod, I enjoyed most of the prisoners being women. Just it just struck me of like, oh, most of these are ladies. I think there were only two, which was the scientist and that bat dude from Echo's Freedom Fighters group. Maybe there were some, but they didn't focus on them in that scene. And it felt really symbolic and true to life. History loves to erase women freedom fighters. And in most revolutions, it's people, it's men and women doing the deed, and often women playing these integral roles, whether they are doing subterfuge, are all up in the action, shooting, leading, etc. But then once the dust settles, right, the dudes are like, cool, 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 cool. Let us pretend it was only us. And there's examples of that here at home. There's examples in revolutions around the world and throughout history. Um, yeah, so that was a really cool moment for me that struck out of like, oh snap, sweet, 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 and that gets carried through, right? We'll see in Act Three when essentially war breaks out. But that's for the next series of pods or section of pods. Well, the next episode, the fuck am I saying? I'm acting like we're going to do each episode individually, and we're not. We're covering acts. Anyway, so straight to the themes. Lead us away, Fia.
Well, obviously, my themes are. We didn't really chat about what we were thinking before we recorded for today.
Nah, we
Um,
in sync, bro.
do did you notice
We're in sync.
anything that I didn't
Now
thematically?
I'm running with yours. Yeah, I think I mentioned.
Cool.
I added to. I suppose I added chosen the sense of chosen family, which we've spoken about before in the past. And I mean, Isha and the Vander group, I suppose, altogether being that. Yeah.
Okay, so just to expand on what we mean, basically, I think I noticed uh, who. No, just the one theme, just the one big theme of this arc.
Yes.
Because again, so much happened that it was difficult to like pull the threads of a through line. And again, I fixated on the thing that I fixated on previously. And I said, like, the theme is specifically family. But right off the back of you talking about women freedom fighters, I felt like there was more of a conscious connection between mothers and daughters and sisters as a pair of groupings. Um, in terms of mothers and daughters, there's so much that kind of unravels between Ambessa and Mel, Caitlin and Councillor Kiraman, Powder and Vi's mother, who we get to see in episode 5, I think. Another beautiful moment of the series, gives us so much insight to characters that we've already killed off. And then in terms of sisters, I said Vi and Jinx and Isha, and then you put one in that I was kind of debating, like, where does this go? But you're right, it is a pair of sisters, and they are
Jinx and Savika.
absolutely like, you want to think that Savika might be parent to Jinx, considering their age gap, but the way that their power dynamic functions, it's very clearly sisterly love or sisterly, not even love or affection. It's more like a bond.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Bond is correct. And just quickly there, Savika's got that. She's got that thing of talented, my talented younger sister, like my talented mercurial younger sister. So there's a lot of frustration that comes from Savik, and you actually see it in season one with the evolution of the relationship. I feel like season one is now more like, oh, every time she's talking to Solka of like, yeah, you just let her do what she wants, nah, 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 you gotta rein her in, etc., etc. It's that frustration of I see her capabilities, I see her potential
Mm.
within their context, right? Within their specific context at each time, and being frustrated with that again, like a sister would be of like, if you could just, oh, do you know how great you could be and we could be, and in reality, I have your back even when I don't want to. Yeah.
Go. Um, I specifically focused on the women because even though I think there is like a constant return of like Vanda as a father, I don't think that he and Silco played as big a thematic role in this arc.
But even that father role of Vanda, it's through the lens of the relationship of the sisters, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
And also taking over their mother's role
Mm. Mm.
because we
Yes.
never see their father, their
Yeah.
biological father, and we know from that interaction that it's neither Vanda or Silco.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah, we do see him once during one of the watercolor memory when Victor's trying to heal Vanda. We see him come home in that sequence. We see the parents coming home. Yeah, where he sees the relationship between Vanda and Vi, where he's teaching her to box, and the cuteness of Powder, and then the parents come home. That's the only time we see the dad when he takes his hat off and puts it on Powder's head and picks her up. Yeah,
I
it's very
completely forgot
brief.
about that.
It's
Yeah,
so quick though. It's so quick.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And even then,
yeah. Any
within our conversation, the conversation we're having now, the viewing of the father is from Vanda's eyes, not the kids and not the memories of the kids, but rather Vanda's experience of the family. Yeah, you were saying.
anything to expand on
In terms of
themes?
um not expand, but I have a question because we don't get like it's can you walk us through briefly the Ambessa Mal theme in terms of mothers and daughters because then they don't interact. But how is that presented to us and projected to us?
Um, it's sort of left over from Act One because we know that there is some kind of impending something humming for Mel that
Mm,
Ambessa is genuinely terrified of. She's done something, we don't really get answers as to what that is, but Mel is essentially in peril because of decisions that Ambessa made.
mm, yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
so
Ambessa.
when she's in that like rose thorn blood magic binding, the person that she interacts with is her brother,
Yeah.
which and then turns out not to be her brother. And then in that instance as well, Mel is a sister and a daughter.
Mm, mm,
And so her experience in there is very much coded by her role as sister or daughter.
yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, sweet. That was my only thing I wanted to elaborate it on. Cool. We're moving on.
We're moving on.
We're
Moving
moving
on.
on. Okay, our last portion, our last section. This was a question to me. I feel. Go ahead and ask it.
So, looking at what we've just talked about, what we've just seen in this arc, from a writing formula perspective, what do you think they've set us up to expect?
Okay, so little moments, like little random moments. Savika, when her arm gets chopped off, I was like, yeah, she's gonna get a new arm from Jinx. I was just like, yeah, that's very clear that's because that was her second arm, right? Um, and she's gonna get a third version of the arm from Jinx. I was like, yeah, that's gonna happen at some point in the future. Yeah, and then Ambessa betraying Caitlyn is something like I could see coming days away. Just like, yeah, this here. Ambessa's too. She's that type of person who her decisions
But
can't.
Caitlyn already betrayed Ambessa. Oh, hold on. I'm talking about for the last arc.
Yes.
What are we expecting from the setup that we
Oh,
received in the
okay for the
second arc?
last arc. Okay, well, so in episode one, sorry, in episode 4 of the arc, just to finish off my Ambessa Caitlyn thing, I was like, yeah, at some point in the next few episodes, this relationship is fucked. Could just see that. But so for the last arc, I don't know. It didn't happen for me when I was first watching, right? To me, for all its rushed issues and whatnot, this is one of those rare shows where my brain wasn't doing that story analysis thing. Um, and it's been like that recently for what I find to be like good animated shows, particularly the animated ones. Blue Eye Samurai being one of them. Mm, to a lesser extent, Vox Machina, which is a show on Amazon Prime. That one as well. I mean, I do some follow some story beats and some predictive stuff like, oh, that's happening, that's happening. So a bit more there. But in general, the last few years, when I'm watching a good animated thing, I don't know. I think it's, and maybe this started with the wave of the Spider Verse movies going to the Puss in Boots. I think so enthralled with the style and how creators are choosing to tell the story that I don't know, just let it wash over me. And so I wasn't really sitting and like, ooh, wondering what's gonna come, especially when Victor died, because there's a potential for him to be like the big bad and whatnot, and then Jace does his thing. So then I was like, huh, okay, so Ambessa's gonna be the big bad, sure, fine. Beyond that, I wasn't really, I was wondering where Echo is, but nothing. Yeah, there was nothing that I was like, oh, in terms of formula that I sussed out and tried to suss out, and maybe there was a choice not to do that. But I didn't really have that much, yeah, in terms of writing formula perspective of what they're trying to set up in the last arc. And perhaps on the other side of that, it might be the rushed nature of it, not allowing for that, which could be seen as a negative as well, in the sense of like, there's like, I think there's good, I don't know where the story is going, and there's bad, I don't know where the story is going. And I think it could have been either at this point when the arc ends. Yeah. Make sense? So what I said, none of it makes sense to you. Cool.
Um,
Cool. Cool.
clarify your last sentence there. Tell me what you mean when you say, because you didn't say whether or not what you saw in Act Two was good. I don't know where this is going, or bad. I don't know where this is going.
Oh, for me, it was good. I don't know where this is going. I was like, sweet. I wasn't concerned about where this is going. I was just like, I'm ready for the next thing. Let's see. Show me where you're going. But there are times, you're watching a thing and you're like, where the fuck is this going? I don't understand. And I think that often stems from the writing formulas, right? Certain things being set up and then decisions being made. Like, that's weird because you were clearly doing, or it looked to be clearly you doing a thing, and I was down for that ride, and then you shifted gears, and now I don't know what you're doing, and I don't like it. I'm not sure I like it. In this sense, it was good. I don't know where this is going, and perhaps I should say I wasn't overly concerned where this is going. I just wanted to see where it went. Yeah. Does that make sense now? Cool. Cool. Did you have
Yes.
anything from a writing formula perspective of what they were trying to set up or could be setting up for the third and last act?
Well, it was so wild. They just did so much and then undid all of that very quickly, i.e., Caitlyn on her steady rise to become some sort of dictator, and then just suddenly, on a dime almost, switching sides. That it became, as you said, so unpredictable as to where the story was going to go. Um,
I,
this is my brain short circuiting.
yeah.
Formulaically, you know that Jinx, or I feel like they've set up Jinx losing somebody. Knowing what we know of Jinx, she could now lose it and then seek vengeance on everybody. So
Hmm.
everyone burns. Jinx burns everyone everywhere without discretion. That's what I was sort of expecting from the next arc. And Bessa now trying to take her out so she can protect whatever interest she had, because we still don't really know her motives at this point.
Well, we do. We do. She wants Hextech to go fight the Rose people. She's going to use and burn all
But
these people to get power.
we don't know what the Rose people want, though. We don't know why she's fighting
Sure.
them. That's not what she wants at this point. What she wants at this point is power, but we don't know why.
No, I disagree. We know why she wants to go take on the Black Rose, and I think from what we've seen from Mbessa's character nature in the two seasons, the first season and up to now at this point, is she's grown up as this warmonger, and it's a thing of I just want more and more power, and it's clear she pissed them off because of this thing of hers of like we are the best in the
But she's
shit.
afraid. She's afraid of them.
Yeah, because she took them on and then was like, oh shit. Because Mbessa and her family and her way and the way she had exiled Miles, just like, yeah, I take what I want. And there was something that she'd wanted. She took it, and then it was like, oh shit. And she became afraid when she lost her son. That oh shit, I fuck, and that's why she's now here. She's desperate for Hextech to go take them to feel safe, ultimately, and to sit and rest in her power. I would say. Hmm.
That's
I
fair.
will say, oh yeah,
No, yeah, I'm just saying that I don't buy it. I feel like she must have done something to be as scared as she is. I don't think she just lost in a battle. She's not the kind of person who would just concede and then run and then try and get an upper hand. She would either let herself die in that battle, go out like a hero or like a warrior, or she wouldn't lose, you know? I feel like it's something else at this point.
like what though?
Exactly. And we do find out what, and there's a payoff there.
Yeah.
But by this point, we don't really know what that is.
Okay. I don't remember that payoff actually. Um, I wanted
Yeah,
to
I don't
say,
I don't buy the payoff, but we'll get to that next week.
okay, I wanted to say quickly to be a hater myself
Hmm.
is I don't, I do think the weakest is the Caitlyn thing because in the time we had so much time in the first season, right? That her betrayal of Vi, you're like, hey yo, fuck this guy. And so it being as quick as it is, this turnaround of like, I am now gonna, I'm just like, yeah, but you did, this is not enough. You know, I'm like, your quick turnaround thing here, it's not enough, actually, because I don't like you. And if the show wants me to like her, they haven't succeeded so far. And just spoiler, personally for me, they never do succeed in having me like Caitlyn. I'm always like, nah, this motherfucker should have died as well. I'm no, I don't. Yeah, I still disagree with her. But it's this thing of like, oh, she became a fascist, and so now she does a quick turnaround. It's like, but yeah, you did fascism, bro, and you fucked up so many lives in your rage and your lust for control and power. And I wanna just no, yeah, it's. I think I would say it's the one major flaw of the show that if they could have done better, they should have done better. Yeah, Caitlyn's story, yeah, it's not satisfying for me, and I think, and again, because of the quick nature of everything, they did that story a disservice. I would have liked it to earn that trust back, story wise. Yeah, yeah, had to get that off my chest.
Hmm. Mm.
Okay, anything else, young fee? I think we're good.
I think we're good. That's a wrap on a very, very rushed, smashed together Act Two, Season Two, Arcane.
Act 2, Season 2, Akedo. All right, guys. So next episode, we will be going through Act 3 of Season 2, the last of the acts. We're going to be rounding out this wonderful show, overall show called Arcade. We didn't even get to the music and the soundtrack. I mean, the score, which I think speaks for itself. From the previous show, this show, it's just on that. A show always does well with music, not always, but more often than not, does well with music when the show knows what it wants to be, whether it gets there or not. When it knows what it wants to be and they take the time to make original music for it, then yeah, which I like that that's making a comeback in the last 6 7 years. Thing of making original music for projects think we're too long in the space of we're gonna take from that indie artist and then we're gonna find stuff that sounds good, which is like sweet, great, but yeah, also making original songs to fit exact what's going on screen in this moment. Yeah, that's top tier shit always. Yeah. All right, dude. Let's get out of here.
Yep. Let's go.
Let's go.
Bye, joysticks.
Bye, I'm a joysticks. We will see you next week. Once again, Arcane Season 2, Act 3, The Denouement, The Cul-de-sac, The End. Bye.